Hello everyone. So today we're going to move on to page 102, and in page 102 we are going to look at how do we change fractions, ordinary everyday fractions, to hundredths, and then by doing so be able to make them into percentages. So if you look at the sample up above, we have a shape that has three coloured parts out of 5. So that fraction would be 3 out of 5. So 3/5. All right. So here we are, we're over in our whiteboard and we've got 3/5 and we need to turn it into hundredths in order to make it into a percentage. So we know that we have to multiply it by something to make it into 100 in order to make it into hundredths. So 5 multiplied by something equals 100. The answer is 5 multiplied by 20 equals 100. Now, we know that if we want the fraction to stay the same, what we do to the bottom, we must also do to the top. Okay, so we're coming up here and we're going to say 20 multiplied by 3. So 3 multiplied by 20, what is the answer? The answer is 60. So that is our hundredths there. And now we know that that is equal to 60% because it's 60 out of 100. All right. Now, in question 1, they're giving you shapes. So they're asking you to determine the fraction yourself. So here we have a triangle with 2 parts to it and 1 part is shaded. So the fraction is 1 out of 2. Okay. So that's a half. Now, what do we do to a half to get it to 100? We have to go all the way over here to 100. What do we do to it to get there? So we multiply it by something. So 2 multiplied by something equals 100. 2 multiplied by 50. What we do to the bottom, we must also do to the top. So 1 multiplied by 50 makes the 100 50 out of 100. Now, that as a percentage is 50%. 50 out of 100. All right, let's look at the next one. So the next one has 10 squares and 4 of them are shaded. All right, so 4 of them are shaded. Let's go down. So that's 4 out of 10. Okay, so what do we multiply it by to get it to 100? Okay, so 10 multiplied by what goes to 100? 10 multiplied by 10. Same goes for the top. If it happens to the bottom, it must happen to the top. 40 out of 100, and the percentage is 40%. Okay, so work away, guys, and do question 1. Now, if you want to move on then to question 2, question 2 is where we change these fractions to percentages. So look at the first one there. We have 4/5. Again, we know that we have to multiply it by something to get it to 100. So 5 multiplied by 20 gets us to 100. And then if we do it to the bottom, we must do it to the top. 4 multiplied by 20 is 80. Okay. And then we know then that that percentage-wise is 80%. Okay. Let's move on as quickly as we can. If you want to pause and come back to me, that's fine too. All right. And then we'll look at question 3. So in question 3, they're asking you to work out the percentages that Sarah got in her summer exams. Okay, I'm just rubbing out my board here. Okay, right. So here we have Sarah, and she wants to work out what she got in all her exams. Now, the first one is easy enough, the maths, because she got 63 out of 100. So we know that that is 63%. We don't really have to do anything with that because we know it's out of 100. However, B, in her questions, she got 29 out of 50. So 29 out of 50. Okay? 29 out of 50. So we have to do something to that to make it to 100. So we have to multiply it by something to get it to 100th. Right? 50 multiplied by something equals 100. 50 multiplied by 2. All right. Okay, the next one, 29 multiplied by 2, because what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top to keep it the same fraction. So 29 multiplied by 2 is, what is it? 2 9s are 18. So 2 2s are 4 and 1 is 5. 58. All right, 58 out of 100. 58 out of 100, which is 58%. So she got 58% in her Irish. In her English, it's the same idea. 41 out of 50, use the same thing. However, when we get to science, 11 over 20. Same idea again. Shouldn't be too hard for you. I'll do it there just to help you. So 11 over 20. Okay. What do we multiply it by to get to 100? All right, so 20 multiplied by something equals 100. 20 multiplied by 5 equals 100. So we do the same up here. So 5 multiplied by 15 is 55. So the answer is 55 over 100. Okay, I'm going to move on, guys, to the next question. So if you want to pause me, do. However, we'll move on to this. So in question 4, it says write these fractions and percentages on the number lines. Okay, so here you're looking at making them all the same. It's the most important part. So we've got in A there, we've got 3/10, we've got 50%, we've got 90%, and we've got 70%. Now, 3/10 you need to work out. You get them all in the same thing. We try and get them all in percentages. So here we go. 3/10. What do I do to it to make it into hundredths? Okay, so 3/10. 10 multiplied by 10 equals 100. So 3 multiplied by 10 equals 30, which is equal to 30%. All right. All right. The next one is 50%, which is, that's fine. We know that one, don't we? And then the next one is 90 over 100. So we know that that's equal to 90%. And then the last one is 70%. So we have all the answers have been turned into percentages. Now we go up to our number line. And we have 0% here. And we have 10 marks the whole way up. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right. Each one represents 10%. So if we do the first one, the first answer in A is 3 over 10, which was 30%. So we go 10%, 20%, 30%. So this one is 30%, or 3/10. The next answer we had was 50%. So we know it's 50%. Okay. The next one was 90 over, or no, the next one was 70 over, 70%. So let's see. So we had 30, 50, 90, and 70. Okay, so 70% is next. So 50, 60, 70. So this is 70%. And now the last answer was 90%. So 70, 80, 90%. So 90% is there. So that's how you fill in that number line. You've 30%, 50%, 70%, 90%. And on the top here is 100%. All right. So we're nearly there, guys. We're going to look at number 5 now. Change these percentages to fractions. All right. So when you want to change a percentage to a fraction, it's kind of like you have to go backwards again. All right. So nice and easy ones, first of all, is 43%. So let's go over here. 43%. So we know it's out of 100. Okay. So we know it's 43 out of 100. Think again about your 100 square. If you had a 100 square, it would have 43 squares colored. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 up on the top. Okay, that's what it would look like. 43 out of 100. All right. Another one that's easy enough. All the rest of those would be easy enough. 7% would be 7 out of 100. So also, if we got something like, let's say, it said we get an answer here like 35%. You see 35%? That's how you simplify it. So we're saying if we got something like 35% as an answer, and we know that 35% is 35 over 100. If we want to make that into a smaller fraction, what do we do? Right, well, to make it up to 100, you usually have to multiply it. So now what you would do is you would divide down by it. So let's see, what would go into both of those? So if you wanted to make that into a smaller fraction, you would say 100 divided by something gives you a smaller number. So, and 5 will go into both of those. So let's go with 5. So 100 divided by 5 equals 20. Okay. If I do it to the bottom, I must do it to the top. 35 divided by 5 equals 7. So that's how you make the fraction smaller. So let's have a look here and see, can we change these in question 6? Can we change these percentages to fractions and then simplify? So let's have a look. We're going to take question A, which is 50. All right. We're going to take 50%. We're going to make it into a fraction. So the one we know is 50 over 100. And then we're going to simplify it, make it an easier fraction to deal with. So what we're going to do is, what can we divide to make this into a smaller fraction? So what goes into both of them? 10 goes into both of them, doesn't it? So if we divide by 10 at the top, we must, or the bottom, we must also divide by 10 at the top. So let's look. 100 divided by 10 equals 10. 50 divided by 10 equals 5. Okay, so the trick is to find something that divides into both numbers, and then you can divide it out. All right, so work away on number 6, guys. As you know, I'll be talking to you on Wednesday, and I'll see how you're getting on with everything. And good luck with that, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.